Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It is Nancy from Into the Rabbit Hole with me. And today I thought I would share with you guys our flow for today because it's a little bit different because now we're jumping into a new period of history. We've also started to incorporate a couple new things to our ELA. And then we looped out some things. So if you've been following for a while, you may notice that some things are not being shown because we're not doing them right now. We just loop them out. But I figured I would start with our math because it's the thing that we just ended. So I have our Jack and Link mini dry erase board because it is themed for the American Revolution. Because we have the American Revolution theme like going on. So we have a teapot. So anyway, we're working on adding decimals. And if you are new, we are doing two different spines. So we have math with confidence, but we also have beyond the page, and we're currently in the second unit and doing order. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say we're doing order of operations. No, we're not. We're doing decimals. It's titled for operations. So we watched the video on using base 10 blocks over here to add and subtract decimals. And we did two worksheets in here. So we did these two worksheets in here, adding decimals. And I think for us, like the biggest thing was just making sure that we line up the decimal points. So he likes to do a lot of his math like mentally. And so sometimes, like, especially with adding decimals, I forced him to write it down as we were doing it because lining up the decimal point is so important when you're doing it. And sure enough, I caught a couple things where he wasn't lining it up right because he was doing it in his head. And so when you do it on down like on paper, it's such like an important skill doing it, even though you can do it abstractly, but just getting into the habit of lining up the decimals, I found for him was particularly helpful, and a little trickier because he got a couple things wrong where he wasn't lining up the decimals. Anyway, so that's what we did for that. And coincidentally, the lesson, now I'm not trying to line it up like where we're adding decimals in Beyond the Page and then we're adding decimals in Math with Confidence. I'm just taking it as it naturally goes in the curriculum. So for instance, we could have been learning about exponents here, you know what I mean? But it just so happens that it lined up perfectly. So we are also learning about adding and subtracting decimals here as well. So that's what we did there. So we finished with math. So we did Math with Confidence and Beyond the Page. And then something new to us, completely new to us, that I just started to like loop in is this McGuffey's Fourth Eclectic Reader. I'm going to tag the account that made me want to try this. This is the Land of Kakiak, and she has a whole YouTube channel and a whole like on how she uses it and stuff. So I am treating this as a read aloud. And so he reads out loud to me and then we do the reading comprehension questions orally, or I will assign them as written prompts. And then this is from Land of Kakiak. And so she has a paragraph writing prompts in here with the different suggested paragraph writing forms. And so for today, for instance, we just read the very first story. He read it out loud to me. We did the reading comprehension questions orally, and then we're going to continue on throughout the week with this paragraph writing prompt from the McGuffey's Fourth Eclectic Reader. He went ahead and he did the Fix It grammar. It's been working out really well. But this is not our sole grammar, but it's really helpful in terms of like identifying different parts of speech, and the repetition and stuff just works so fabulously for him. For literature, I put this together because for the next month or two, we're really deep diving into the American Revolution. And so I'm tying in our literature to go along with it. And so I got this book for free from Barnes & Noble for their reading program. So if you're looking for an American Revolution book, don't forget, I think it goes on until the end of August, right? The Barnes & Noble's reading program, you fill out the sheet of books that they read over the summer, and then you turn it in and they get to pick a book. And so one of the books that my son picked was the I Survived, because he really loves the I Survived series. And so I did the American Revolution. So I'm tying it in our history theme in with our literature. So I did that, but then he also has and of course he doesn't have the bookmark in here, but I created some reading comprehension questions. I've already added it to his notebook in here, so that way for the week, so that way he just comes in here and then he fills out things in here. He has reading comprehension questions, but he also has bookmarks that go along in here. Oh, here it is. That tells him what to focus on in terms of like annotating his books, and which in turn is going to help him with the reading comprehension questions. So I think I have it upside down. I'm trying not to lose his pace. Hold on. Like this, you know, and it tells him what to focus on for annotation. Sorry, it's all wonky. It's harder to do it one-handed. Anyway, so that is what we're doing for literature. And then the other thing that we did is the language lessons from the Well-Trained Mind. And that pretty much is our ELA. So we have our grammar along with the fix-it grammar. We have our literature with some writing involved in here. Yeah, here's the fix-it grammar. And then we have the McGuffies, which is going to be more writing integrated with this as the week goes on, because we're going to be focusing on expository writing. So we have that, and then we did double math. And that is my son's ELA, my 5th grader. Now, my 7th grader, his ELA is looking a little different as well. So he is reading through Never Caught, the story of Ona Judge, and I have worksheets for him. This is from Mentoring in the Middle. And so there was comprehension questions in here that I pulled for him to do from that study literature pack from, again, Mentoring in the Middle. And so he read the first 2 chapters in here and then did the questions. I'm really loving that packet, by the way. So this is what he's doing right now for his literature. And I'm forsaking all of the things this week. It's just kind of like an easier going week for him so far, because he just has this for literature. We are working with Skill Student Workbook Level 2. So we're working our way through that. In this notebook he has to keep all his outlining stuff in there. And then he has Grammar for the Well-Trained Mind. So right now his ELA is looking a little light for this week. And then next week, I believe, Famous Men of Rome. No, there's something else. I forgot what it is. It's too early in the week to think about that. But next week, something else is getting tied in. So grammar. And then we have our writing. And then he has his literature. And that's pretty much his ELA. And right now he's working in his math. So he's going to be finishing up with that soon. And that is what our morning block look like, except for our morning work. So you guys know that in the morning we get together and we start off our day together as a family. We kind of eat breakfast together, wake up a little bit more, and kind of go through just do some light stuff to like get the brain working. Especially for my oldest. He is not a morning riser, so it usually takes him like a little bit. Like he can't just jump into all of a sudden jumping into something like this. You know what I mean? He just needs a little bit more to get going. And so we started off with George Washington rules to live by. He really loves that because, again, our theme is the American Revolution. So we have his rules to live by. We didn't do this today. We went through a couple pages of how to be a Revolutionary War soldier. I'll show you what that looks like. Just looks like this, you know, just some like informational stuff. But the main thing that we did today, so we didn't do that much for morning work. We just did this and this because the main thing that we did is we read There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury. It's a short story that takes place like in this dystopian world where all humans are gone from the face of the planet and just the machines are left behind. But I really wanted to do it because it takes place in August of 2026. So it's really cool to see something that was written in the 1950s, like how applicable it is to now, 2026, like how close to that reality we are in. So every day for the rest of the week, I'm going to be going over vocabulary, just asking more additional critical thinking type questions and stuff. Where did I get this from? This is a grade 8 study, and I did it family style, and it did it pretty fine, even though I have a 5th grader. It doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me, guys. I would try to link it below in the description, but I actually think it was for free. And I think it was on Instagram, and I just opened it up and it took me straight to the Google Drive. So I may not be able to like link it, you know? But I'm sure if you Google and you just search There Will Come Soft Rains, Ray Bradbury free study guide, I think it will pop up. But I will do my best. I will try to find it and see if I can somehow link it down in the description. But anyway, we read the story today. We discussed several things in here, and then we'll keep pulling from this as the week goes on. But that is what we did for the morning, and now we're on break. So the boys are doing some chores, at least one child is. My other son is still finishing up his math, doing the chores, and then they get a nice solid break for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. They relax, they unwind, they do whatever they want, they eat lunch, and then we circle back in the afternoon and we do our afternoon subjects. And I'll show that on a different day. All right, guys, have a great day. I hope you guys are having a great Monday. Bye.